Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.
Stephen Curry is with us. Have you been following Ed Cavali's sizzling hot new segment on Triple M's Get This? It's where he does all of the things that he normally hates to do. What have you done today, Ed?
Well, after the barrage of, sort of insults that I had to endure from you and Ricky Marsland yesterday about me doing nothing, I promised to listen to Nickelback's new album, All the Right Reasons, in its entirety.
Have you heard this album, Stephen?
No, I haven't, unfortunately. It shames me to say.
You can have this one.
What are your thoughts? I'll be right, but what are your thoughts? I'm going to take your word for it, Ed.
Well, I think I've bitten off a little bit more than I can chew, Tone. It was tough going.
Okay, I should warn you that Kelly has emailed in and said, Hey, Ed,
hey, Kelly,
stop bagging Nickelback. Yeah. They're one of the best bands in the world, or else they wouldn't have been asked to be support act to Bon Jovi. By the way, Ed, just wondering, are you the GE Money Genie?
What?
You've been accused of being the carpet Corchester, and now they're saying you're the GE Money Genie.
No, I'm not the GE Money Genie.
So, step carefully, because Kelly's listening and she's prepared to be offended.
Work. Well, Kelly, that's fine.
I'm surprised you didn't mention that they've sold 20 million albums. People always talk about that. Hey, they've sold 20 million albums, like it's some sort of reason to like them.
Exactly right. Well, first of all, Lance Armstrong's playing bass, apparently.
Hey, that's a good gag for radio as well.
So have a look at that. If you've got it.
It is the most visual show on radio.
Look, here are some lyrics that made me want to throw up. When the Paddle Pop line's saying, you got off when you got on me, your mum don't know what that you were missing. She'd be pissed if she saw the parts of me you'd been kissing.
Wow.
I got both hands on the wheel while you got both hands on my gears.
Oh, my God.
Right? Now, this is... Come on, Kelly, if this is your idea of a good time, then come on. Now, these are the songs that I sat through. Right? That's the first song. Here comes the next one. This is a different song, mind you.
Oh, there was a cut there?
Yeah, this is a different song. Luckily, they've changed it up for this one. Oh, yeah, well, look at this. The experimentation that goes on. And now we move on to their most experimental work. Oh!
Is it a ballad? It's a ballad, isn't it?
I judge by what she's wearing, just how many heads I'm
Changing the meter. That's all they're doing. They're just mixing it up.
This is what I'm saying. Right, now, look at this. And then here's the last one. This is the final straw for me. This is Rockstar. Have a listen to this.
I'm through with standing in line. The clubs I'll never get in. It's like the bottom of the ninth, and I'm never gonna win this. Life hasn't turned out quite the way I want it to be. Tell me what you want.
Oh,
gee.
I want your hands on my gears. That's what I want.
Call and response. So I thought, all right, maybe I'm being slack. Is that Rockstar one? Maybe it's meant to be like a bit of a parody.
Oh, yeah,
And at one, the big kicker is he says, I changed my name and cut my hair to fit into the rock industry.
Yes.
Like taking the piss out of people that do that. He did it himself. The Paddle Pop Lion, Chad Kruger, his real name is Chad Robert Turton.
Is that right?
And he had
Turton.
long flowing...
Turton?
I'd be changing
The turt, and he had long flowing locks that he's cut into a weird kind of emaciated bob.
Wow.
Okay, enough of this Paddle Pop line gear. He's the turt. From now on, he's the
turd.
turt.
He's the turd.
Don't mess with the turt.
One thing's for sure, Tony, you can't accuse Ed of not working now, can you?
I've been through some stuff, man.
Nose to the grindstone stuff, that.
Turt from the back. I think I've done. Look, I may have bitten off more than I could chew. Tone. This segment's starting to. Cats. I watch Cats on DVD.
Yeah.
That kind of. That was like a. That was like a
segment's starting to what?
No,
what
that was
like
that was like a flesh wound, right? This was like This was like standing in front of a cannon and saying, "In the face, please."
Cheap wine. There's heaps of cheap wine around at the moment.
Why?
You can get bottles of quite good wine for $1.99.
That's good.
Wow.
That's cheap.
Because we've got a wine glut in Australia.
Wine glut.
The people at the vineyard say it's due to overinvestment in wines in the early 90s and Darren Hinch's recent illness. Apparently. Where's our boing today? We really need the boing happening.
It's implied. Hello, Bret.
Oh, I'm a DJ, and I was working at this club in a suburb in Sydney that I won't reveal. But
Fair enough.
Had Pluck a Duck as our guest DJs about 1992. and Plucker was busy tuning a bunch of chicks, like you do. And,
in costume?
Yeah.
Yeah, in costume.
Good.
And then afterwards, the guys come up and going, "G'day, mate, how you going? Can I make a request?" He's going, "Yeah, sure." And the guy fully punched Plucker out.
Because he was tuning his girlfriend.
That's just...
Yeah.
What
It's like,
kind of...
Hey, duck, keep away from my girlfriend.
What kind of line of patter does Plucker Duck work on the ladies?
Got any bread?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm the other white meat.
I could introduce you to Daryl. That usually works.
Hello, Dean.
Yeah, how you going, guys?
Good man, tell us your crap night out.
Oh, mate, I had a beauty. First concert I ever went to was Jimmy Barnes and Cold Chisel, and had to beg my mum for ages to let me go to it, and I first date with this girl, and halfway through the concert, Jimmy was blind on a bottle of vodka and climbed up the speaker tower and pushed one of the speakers off and landed on top of my head and knocked me out.
And did he apologise?
Not at all, mate. One of the roadies jumped off the stage and they dragged me out the back of the stage and threw me out into the back alley.
It was your fault.
You were asking for a buddy.
You're a troublemaker, Dean. How dare you try and listen to live music?
We'll try and track down Jimmy Barnes and he'll scream an apology to you.
Beautiful.
Julia Zemiro helping us out. We can bloke it up a bit with Rodney Rhodes. He's on what he claims is his final ever tour. That's him there.
So punishing.
And I love what the tour is called. Steve Britton, who we love, he's the man who
Have
said...
you ever rented a videotape that wasn't quite right? That one?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Pirate videos are
Okay, you're
identified by poor jackets.
No, photocopy jackets and or
jackets.
picture quality. The lack of labels on the face and spine of the tape.
That's
and
right.
the absence of warnings, such as this at the beginning of the tape presentation.
Sure, sorry. That's what I meant to say.
No, but I worked in a video shop for 8 years.
8 years,
So
damn
I
it.
saw it every day. I know the whole thing, which I won't bore people
That's the
with.
school of life, working a video shop. School of life.
Look where it got me.
Wow.
Oh, no, well, you've done fairly well for yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, what were we saying, Tone?
That's that bloke, Steve Britton. He
Oh,
does the
were you
voice.
going to play something?
Yeah, he does the voiceover for Rodney Rhodes' current tour, which is called
Frogsack.
Sorry. Well, I think that's actually the name of the album. What?
Frogsack.
Fair enough.
Frogsack.
But I remember when we were doing Martin Malloy, which was 7 years ago,
Yeah.
Rodney Rhodes, for the entire period we did that show for 4 years.
Yeah.
And for the entire period, he was on his I don't give a rat's ass tour. By the fourth year, you're going, can you really not give a rat's ass for that long?
Give him a rat's ass. I remember we were at home once, and quite late at night, a very posh voice came on and said, tonight at Crown Casino, Rodney Rhodes, your mum's bum.
Your mum's bum. As opposed to
Frogsack.
Oh, no, we're laughing. He obviously tickles us all.
I saw Steve Britton once in the Triple M studios doing a voiceover, and he had a little thing of honey. A little jar of honey, which he would drink before he would say,
Frogsack.
The old honey throat.
yeah.
Well, I'm doing a musical at the moment. You'd be surprised all the little concoctions: ginger, lemongrass, and honey.
Oh, now you're in Eurobeat. That's on
And I'm
tour.
gargling honey every night.
Here's what we love on this show, theatrical disasters. Anything gone horribly wrong so far?
Well, as you know, Eurovision or Eurobeat, you get a big PowerPoint presentation up behind you of scores. You cut all the different countries and your scores. Whole thing collapsed. Ended up doing it practically on a bit of paper and a pen, and just
Oh, my
remembering.
God.
Yeah, that was a disaster.
But that's like, technical disaster. Oh, what are we going to do? Has anyone fallen over?
Our delightful Melissa Langton, who represents Hungary, tore a muscle in her calf.
Oh, see, that's actually an injury. I just meant
Something that Ed could find on YouTube.
No, I think you'll find we're all extremely professional, Ed.
all
We all
right.
warm up before we go on.
Okay.
Extremely professional.
Anyway.
I'm looking for big stories.
Yeah. What's
Are
going
you?
on, Tony?
There's the Warnie book out. I think we've
Yep.
been through the major bombshells.
Yep.
And there's a review of it in the Australian, which just said that, obviously no one wanted to talk. So the bloke who's written, the book, Paul Barry, hasn't really got a lot of new Warnie bombshells.
Oh, okay.
Listen to this. Instead, the book relies on reheating well-told stories with the occasional sad gem, like the revelation that Warne refused to put a thermometer up his bum at the Australian Institute of Sport.
That is good.
Finally, the real story of Warren has come out, you know? I love him as a bowler, and now I feel I know him as a man as well, you know?
So imagine that in the publishers. Right, Paul, it's going to be 600 pages. What have you got that's new?
Oh, well, where do I start?
Any bombshells about on tour?
Not
affairs?
exactly. No, not exactly. But,
No? What do you got for us, Paul?
thermometer up the bum.
What are you talking about?
Well, he went to the Institute of... I can't say too much.
Right.
But he went to the Institute of Sport.
On the arm of a mystery blonde?
No, it was scientist. So,
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what happened?
He didn't want it.
What?
He so wanted it.
Oh,
He wanted it bad. See, I
Finally,
can't stand
some
Shane
blokeism.
Warne. I can't stand Shane Warne. You can go on all you like about what a great bowler he is. Don't care. But now I may feel a little bit more sorry for him knowing that he didn't want a thermometer up his jacket.
Right. Are you worried about thermometers, Shane?
There's only one thing that really worries me, and that's hair loss.
Of course. And just one for good measure.
Frogsack.
Thank you. What about relationship problems?
What's happening?
Who have you
What's
got
going
there?
on?
I turned to Imogen
Same here.
in the Zoo magazine.
Same here.
Listen to this stumper. I've started to fall for this chick at work. My friends think office relationships are a no-go zone. What do you think? Hasn't any chance of working out, says Trevor of Ipswich.
Okay, Trev.
And then Imogen replies, I know the idea might tantalise you, but the danger factor is not about being naughty. It's about the consequences if things go belly up. If you can't win the battle against your hormones, then at least make sure your desk isn't near hers. What I love is Zoo magazine have had to curve the type about, watching for your hormones around Imogen's breasts. Look at that. That's a nightmare for a typographer.
I'll say.
Getting the kerning to work around Imogen's breasts. There's a bloke sitting there in the typographical department going, I've got to watch my hormones, but check them out. That's an exhausting piece of typography.
That's what they call a mixed message, Tony.
There
It's
it
a mixed
is.
message.
There it is.
What are we doing here?
I'm desperate to talk Dealbreakers.
Dealbreakers, explain what you mean in.
Right. If you are going out with someone, first date, second date, been going out with them for 2 years thinking of marrying them or something, something that they can do or say that instantly makes it over.
Right. And so this is like the rules are established.
Yeah, and it's quite big on the internet. There's plenty of sites about that. And I went and had a look-see, and this one lady said that she was on a date with this guy, and the bill came, and he said, holy crap, that's a hefty chunk of change I hope you put out. And she said that was it for her. That's about it for thing. And and another girl, a guy tried to take her on a self-help class on their first date.
That's it.
On the first date.
That'd be my deal breaker.
That about? So that's it. That's what I want to talk about. Now, my one, if I'm ever out with a girl, which is never, if she ever says the phrase, my dad is so cute, then it's time to get out of there.
Have you got any relationship deal breakers?
Oh, people who try and change you. I think that's good.
Trying to change. People tried to change you.
No, it's usually me trying to change them, if I'm honest. So, yeah.
So your boyfriend's not going, stop hosting Rock Quiz so much.
No, because clearly he gets to come and meet interesting people. No, it's more things like stop trying to make me cook more. I'll cook the 3 things I know, and that's all I can offer you.
I hear. What
Just
are
because
they?
you're French.
What are they?
Oh, they'd be, chili bean con carne type thing.
Out of a tin? Yep.
No, with real mince
that's
and all
nice.
that. That's not so bad. A curry of some description.
That's nice.
But when I'm sort of keen to explore stuffed artichokes that probably take a good hour and a half. So
Stop drooling, Ed.
I don't know. That's a shame.
But you,
I've got to
Tone?
accept it.
Well, I'm trying to think back. I'm trying to think. I remember my wife saying, look, you've got to understand, I don't want to have any children. And I remember going, oh, you mean I'm going to get to sleep in all the time? I'm going to have to spend all my money on myself. I need to stay up late and go to things like films and concerts. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare. It's fantastic! I know that's a very unfashionable thing to say in Australia.
But it's wonderful because you could do it once. No, you're lovely. That's lovely. You've both gone, let's just know that's what we want.
And then you get people with kids going, oh, but what about the final scene of Parenthood? Oh, don't you want to be on the roller coaster? No. I'll be on a normal roller coaster till all hours of the night. Thank you.
Filled with DVD.
Oh, sure, I'm going to die unfulfilled and hated.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Tell us your deal breaker.
Well, I was going out with a actual Triple M DJ, which will remain nameless.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
But we went on a date, and he was wearing this rope belt.
A rope belt?
Yeah.
A rope belt, and then he played the air drums on the way in the car to a place in Portsea for lunch, and then I had to pay.
Oh, hang on, too much.
That could have been anyone around here.
It is mandatory that you play the ear drums if you work at Triple M, so we, can't criticise that. But a rope belt, what was he? Was he in Ned Kelly's gang?
I don't know, but it was very ordinary, and that was it.
Oh, well, that's great.
fair point.
I know you can't name. No, let's move on. All right, thank you, Rachel.
I'm now picturing everyone who works here in a rope belt.
Yes.
going,
Same.
maybe.
What suits?
Marston's got a touch of the rope belt about him. Hello, Mick.
G'day, mate. How are you?
Good, good. Tell us your deal breaker.
I just started dating a chick, and after about a month, she wanted me to take 2 months' holidays and build a deck for her so she could save about 10 grand.
And how's the deck going?
It was a big deck.
Did you build it?
No, I didn't know, bloody. I picked up a hammer for 2 weeks beforehand. So.
Oh, see, I thought you were probably maybe you were a carpenter, and she went, "Yeah, I want to go out with a carpenter so he can do a bit of work around the house."
No, I had nothing. I'm just an office worker.
I can't
You
believe
fetched her one.
romance based on building a deck.
How did she ask you?
Over dinner, we got drunk at the pub, and then she hit me up.
Pop the question.
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to build me a deck? If I build it, she will come. Sorry.
Ah, there we go.
You should have
Had to
just
say
said, "I'll build you a deck if you wash all my clothes for a year."
There we
How's
go.
that?
That man there is Lachy. Hume. Give him a round if you could.
Thank you very much.
We've had so many emails about you because obviously the news is out that you're not going to be the Joker in the new Batman film. I know you haven't been big noting yourself about it. I want to point that out. We're the ones who brought it up. We found it on the internet.
Well, you've really been doing my PR for me.
I hope we didn't reverse it. It was our
You know,
fault.
I did have the part until you opened your big mouth.
There we go.
So they cast another Aussie instead. I'm just glad it went to an Australian because it was obviously Heath Ledger's got it and that's great, and I was in the mix and Hugo Weaving was in the mix. So I think they had their eyes cast Australia wide for this.
It's not over, Lachy. It's not over. We are going to get you the Batman villain in the next one.
You know it.
Okay, now what villain would that be, Tone?
Egghead. I'm going for Egghead. Ed, what have you got?
I'm going to go for Olga, Queen of the Cossacks.
Who was that? That was in the TV show, wasn't
Hey,
it?
man, I remember there was an episode of the old TV show where Joan Collins was a character called the Siren.
Yeah, that's right.
But it was a strange episode because you remember the old Batman TV series, it'd be the cliffhanger and then they'd come back like the next night, wrap it up. Well, this episode ended with, the cliffhanger ended with Joan Collins dressed in sort of an Egyptian, I don't know, water-carrying girl uniform and all gold
coming into
lame
Commissioner
to
Gordon's
office and going, and
That's
him
right.
and Commissioner Gordon being transfixed, and then she wasn't in the next episode.
That was in the last series.
Yeah.
They sort of started to give a bit of sizzle as to who the villain was in the next episode.
Right.
So
I see.
the part 2 would end. Oh, no, it just went back to one part in episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Welcome to Nerdsville. Population 3. But there was some kind of thing where they would promote the villain, and the villains got dodgy towards the end.
Well, the last villain ever was someone called Minerva, played by Zsa Zsa Gabor. Now,
Minerva.
Hume, don't tell me you don't do a good Zsa Zsa.
All right, no. Listen, I know I'm not allowed to talk about this stuff because I have been in top secret chats with Warner Brothers about playing Minerva.
What about the bookworm?
The bookworm. Roddy McDowell played the bookworm.
Costume made out of books.
But what was
Loved it.
What did he do? Like, what kind of powers did he have?
Speed reading. It was like,
But for evil. Speed reading for evil.
he was the head of an evil book club. I can't remember. There was the minstrel.
Yes.
The minstrel. Louis the Lilac.
Louis the Lilac. That was Milton Berle.
Did he try
Milton
and
Berle.
camp people to death? What did he do?
Well, spring would be busting out all over with Louis the Lilac. He wore purple, and I think he sprayed flower things on. I don't know. I can't.
It was
remember.
terrifying.
Milton
Oh,
Berle.
God, what a reign of terror he managed to wield over Gotham City.
What about Lady Penelope Pea Soup? What was her go?
I think this is when they went to London, or
Yeah,
as it was called in Batman, Londinium. And I could never work out how they got the costumes, the car, how they get everything to London.
Freight.
The poles, the back computer.
They FedExed it.
That was evil Lord Phileas Fogg or somebody.
That's it. Marmaduke Fogg and
There you
Lady
go.
Penelope Pea Soup.
And then there was Mr. Freeze.
Yeah.
And Mr. Freeze had a sort of floating kind of casting arrangement.
Yeah, well, they had Otto Preminger played him.
That's
They
right.
had George Sanders played him.
George Sanders.
They had the same situation with Catwoman, though. Many, many actresses actors have played Catwoman. You had Eartha Kitt, you had Lee Merriweather, you had Julie Newmar.
Yeah, but hang on. Otto Preminger, the
And by the way, we're
German
not
film
so
director.
people listening, we're not reading this off anything.
No,
That's the sad part. What about King Tut? Remember King Tut?
Now,
Victor
Victor
Buono,
Buono.
who was also the bad guy in The Man from Atlantis with
And-
Patrick Duffy.
But what did King Tut try and do? Like, what was his thing?
He was just like a normal college professor.
Yeah.
And he would always get hit on the head. A flower pot would fall of it, and then he would turn into King Tut. I can't remember what his powers were,
right.
but he had a Brillo pad,
Yeah, a glue
sellotape to his chin.
To his chin, that's right, he did. He did, yes.
Maybe he was tough on stains. That's he was tough on grime. How would they get the thing to fall on his head?
Oh, it was every time. It was just constantly a cat would brush a flower pot, and it would just land on his head in the middle of a lecture, and he would become incredibly villainous.
And then how would he get out of it? Did you have to knock him on the head again, and then he wakes up?
Yeah,
that's get him out of it. That's normally how it works, just on a medical sort of
Is that right?
level. Yeah.
A very confused professor with a
Yeah.
Brillo pad stuck to his face.
No, I mean, if you look into any medical book, it'll tell you.
Is that right?
To crack somebody out of King Tutism, you've got to smack him on the head again with a.
Is this a movie show? This sounds like a
Yeah,
TV
yeah.
show.
Sorry,
And
let's
it's
get in.
starting to sound suspiciously like what's good for you.
All right. We don't want any of that. Let's get back to movies. People email in every time we do this. What is moving violations?
Oh,
Moving
genius.
violation. I know about this. Oh,
Of course you
man,
do.
I know about
What
this
is
one.
it?
Okay, this was a star vehicle for Bill Murray's youngest brother, John.
Not even Brian Doyle, mate.
No, Brian Doyle Murray, very talented man, played Jack Ruby
In JFK, correct.
But no, John Murray, whose only other film appearance that I'm aware of is actually playing Bill Murray's brother in Scrooge, the
Ouch.
Richard Donner film.
Right.
But I will never forget, it was Moving Violations was, I think, something to do with like a police academy style
I'll bet.
thing. But I just remember seeing the ad on TV when I was a kid, and it was John Murray leaning over a toilet cubicle, pointing at somebody going, "You guys are nutty."
And there was a theme song, was there, Mr. Marsland?
Yeah, there was. It was moving violations when I move. Watch me.
It's Population 4.
Yeah, Nerdsville.
What about zebra damage? Kate Blanchett's new movie, The Golden Age, has been cleared in an animal cruelty investigation after actors claimed a zebra was beaten up during filming. Beaten up.
He was very lippy, that zebra, getting in shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Always first
Well,
at the
they're known
lunch
for that,
table.
though. Then that zebra in particular is known for his behaviour on set. And it's about
He
time
is.
somebody took him in
Yeah,
hand.
I
and-
agree.
He's been running around really quickly, disturbing
They're not,
epileptics.
they're not suggesting that Kate Blanchett was beating up a zebra.
Oh,
are they?
when doesn't she?
Well, he's all up in Kate's grill for a while, and she just had enough.
Yeah. Well, Kate's known to snap. I've seen her snap.
She demands 2 zebras for every film just so that she can beat them up.
I saw her go a Shetland once. Wasn't pretty.
What she does is she gets a zebra onto the set on day one,
Yeah.
punches it out, and it just lets everyone know.
That's right.
We've got an email from this bloke, Trash. He says
Trash?
the best line from any movie ever is from Flash Gordon. You know Flash Gordon?
Yeah,
It's sort
Flash
of a
Gordon, yeah,
fruity
yeah.
version of Flash Gordon. The scene, a scientist gets out of a spaceship on an alien planet, takes in a deep breath, and says, "Good, there is oxygen on this planet." That's the kind of classic
Pretty good.
lines we're looking for. I've got a few here that I like.
Yep.
Obviously, you've got to have a line from This Is Spinal Tap.
Absolutely.
This is the one I chose.
Oh, no. Right. If I told them once, I told them 100 times to put Spinal Tap first and Puppet Show last.
That's a good one.
That's good.
What about... Oh, do you know Top Secret, the Zucker Brothers?
Right.
Top Secret. Right. Here's a fairly baffling line from that movie.
You must go now quickly. If they find out you've seen this, your life will be worth less than a truckload of dead rats in a tampon factory.
Can you name the actor?
Michael Goff.
Who played?
Alfred in the Batman movies.
There you go.
The Tim Burton ones.
Everything is coming together and tying it in. And
Phew.
you think this is an unscripted show out there.
Let's go for some Fred Willard in
good.
Best in Show.
This has never happened before, ever, I swear.
This does not look good.
No, he went after her like she's made out of ham.
Fred Willard can improve any film.
Fantastic.
He
was in Moving Violations.
Was he?
If you needed any more reasons.
Bet he was. Mr. Marsland loves Bottle Rocket with the Wilson brothers, their first movie, so I got one for you here.
What are you wearing? Yeah. It's a jumpsuit. Looks like a little banana. Where are you from anyway, man?
He does look like a little banana. What else? Now, it was hard finding anything from Bad Santa. that we could put to air. I'm not even sure if we can put this to air.
Give it a crack.
If there are any children listening, move them away from the radio.
Hello, Mary.
Keep it going.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. You ain't gonna shit right for a week.
Even beats. It's fairly offensive. I love Bad Santa, though.
That was the movie that Jack Nicholson claims that it was the one film he wished he could have done.
Is that right? It was written for Bill Murray, in fact.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But Billy Bob does a great job. And by popular request, so many people email in and say, give us a bit of Gavin Wood in Houseboat Horror. Here we go. Here you go.
Hey guys, girls, it's party time. Come up here. It's view's magnificent. You'll bar up.
Great improvisational genius.
I get chills, man. I think of the greats, Pacino, De Niro, and Gavin Wood just enters that canon, doesn't he?
Scott Edgar from Tripod.
Yes, good morning.
Morning, Scott.
Thank you, everyone.
What about Mick Doohan?
Oh, yeah.
Let's leave the Channel 10 News to explain.
Motorcycle racing champ Mick Doohan has been fined $2,500 after headbutting a bouncer in a drunken rage. The 41-year-old pleaded guilty to charges relating to an incident at Darwin's Honeypot Strip Club early Saturday morning. Prosecutors told the court Doohan was heavily intoxicated and started removing his clothing, refusing to leave the club. The magistrate ordered no conviction be recorded, describing Doohan as an Australian hero stuck in an unfortunate situation.
Stuck in an unfortunate situation. The honeypot, presumably.
Yeah, they forced him. They forced him into it. You know, he didn't want to go there and get drunk and look at strippers all night. He didn't want to have to headbutt the bouncers and take off his clothes. They forced him into it. I'm sick of people like Mick Doohan, good Australians like Mick Doohan, getting dragged down by the honeypot and its bouncers.
Everything is right with that picture. Everything. Headbutted a bouncer at a strip club.
The honeypot.
It's like a Tom Waits song.
$2,500. I reckon if you offered people for $2,500, come and at like a theme park, come and headbutt a bouncer at our Honeypots Emporium.
Take your clothes off in the company of gorgeous women.
Yeah, and then throw some headbutts around.
Yeah, that's an interesting factor, isn't it? He wanted to be part of the show.
Get up there, Mick.
Yeah, I could do this.
I think the lesson is if you are caught headbutting someone at a strip club and you don't want to record a conviction, make sure you're an Aussie hero.
Yeah.
You know, be prepared. The Honeypot, that's in Darwin. I'll tell you my favourite place in Darwin. If you've ever been to Darwin, the Big Men's Store in Darwin. Like
you
frequent
big men's stores?
Yeah, totally. I don't frequent them. I just love to see what they're called.
Yes, Big and Tall.
Big and Tall, or maybe Solway. But no,
whoa,
I don't
get that one.
No, see, it's subtle because
right.
you want a name that doesn't say that I'm a big fat bastard.
Right.
See what I mean? I'm just going down to Solway.
Okay.
But in Darwin, the Big Men's Store is called the Portly Gentleman. I'd like to think that's also a strip club.
I like to think it sounds like a Sherlock Holmes mystery.
Portly Gentleman. Hello, the Portly Gentleman. I'd love to work at the Portly Gentleman.
Does Sir require a pie on entry?
Let's get up onto a higher plateau. Ed's idea for today's Talkback Mountain was dob in a nerd.
Yeah.
We were in Nerdsville yesterday on our movie show.
Tony, it's time to admit that we're in it all day, every day.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
We've got Scott.
Well, I did. I am proud to say I filled in Jedi on my senses
Did
for
you?
the second time in a row last night, and I hope those people out there have stuck to their faith.
Because there was quite a lot last time, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, well, there was quite a few of us.
Yeah.
I filled out Steve Vizard. There was a lot of stuff about
Under religion.
Paintings at my house that weren't supposed to be there. You're allowed to do that, aren't you? If
it's fair enough.
I'm a 9-year-old Hindu lesbian this year.
Okay, well, let's see. How does this work? Are we going to dob ourselves in as nerds?
At start, we dob ourselves in at the start, if we wish, no pressure, and then we throw it open. Now, people can call in and dob in someone they know, or dob in themselves.
How nerdish do people get?
Well, okay, I'm going to dob in someone I know first.
Right.
Just a guy I know from Sydney, who said, I bought a Batman costume. I said, right. So, how much does one pay for a Batman costume? He said, well, I bought myself a Batman costume and 2 Robin costumes for 2 of my friends. So all in all, it was about $300 US. And I said, oh, right. And I was thinking, oh, what a loser, right? Then he showed up with it, and it had like padding and a really good hat.
So it's the plastic kind of a look?
No, it's like foam. And I was like, hey, nice Batman costume.
Because there's it has to be really good.
Yeah.
Anything less than really good looks really
And you
bad.
don't feel like Batman.
Yeah. With those angry dads protesting out the front of Parliament.
Oh, yeah.
Just
6 of them.
Sad, baggy ass protesting dads.
We
in
had,
Batman
to
costumes.
hire a Darth Vader costume for a sketch comedy television show that I was
Had to?
involved with once. Huh?
Had to,
Well, it was
or-
for a sketch, you know,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
sketch was, OH&S officer comes to the Death Star and
Ah,
Darth Vader
yeah.
has to show him around, you know, whatever, funny premise. So we called this costume hire place and they asked for the details of it, and then, you know, they called us back and they went, no, look, we can't hire you this Darth Vader costume because Darth Vader wouldn't do that. If an OH&S officer came to the Death Star, he would probably send one of his officers. So I'm afraid we can't,
If you've got any more questions, get onto our internet forum. You know?
Them's nerds.
Them's nerds.
Great.
Wow.
Tony, do we dare open up?
Just pretty much anything I say or do. Certainly something that I get accused of being a nerd over from my friends is demanding that comedy shows on the telly be screened in the correct order.
I know,
that's
Tony.
nerdy.
It's
That's
nerdy.
obscure.
What do you got?
Extras.
Oh,
Now,
yes, the new
Ricky
Gervais.
Gervais's extras. As we know, the ABC cannot show a British comedy show to save themselves.
No.
They either don't show it or they show it after everyone's seen it. Extras, if you remember,
Yep.
they were going to be showing in April.
Yes.
And then someone at the ABC's gone, oh, but hang on. If we show it now,
Mm.
there's a lot of people in Australia who haven't yet bought it from overseas or seen it on the internet. We better wait till months later when everyone has seen it 2 or 3
It's an
times.
interesting idea, but it's working.
So-
So what's going on, Tony?
Well, when it was shown in England,
Yeah.
the first episode is one with a bloke called Ross Kemp from EastEnders.
Yes.
It's a bloody corker.
It's hilarious.
Sets up the whole series.
Yeah.
The BBC, because they're run by marketing people now, went,
Yeah.
no. Show the big names first. Show the one with Ben Stiller first.
Yeah,
It's the second episode. It's a dodgy opening episode. Doesn't really set anything up.
Yeah.
Got bad reviews in England for the first couple of weeks because people didn't quite like the first one
Yeah.
or the second one. So what did the ABC do? Let's start with the wrong one as well. Let's start with the Ben Stiller one. Can they get nothing right there?
I don't know, Tone.
Yeah, I was watching a show on DVD, a comedy show. Do you know the Mighty Boosh?
Oh,
Yes,
Heard of them?
yes.
Yeah.
Great show, but there was all these characters that like died in episode 3 and then were in episode 6. But this was the DVD. I didn't quite.
See, the fact that you're wondering about that
Yeah,
marks you as a
welcome
as a
nerd.
nerd, yeah,
Mark
yeah.
of the nerd.
Yeah, never mind that the character I'm talking about was a talking gorilla.
Mr. Marsden, you've
man.
got a
on,
you were
man.
singing the theme to Moving Violations yesterday.
That's because it was one of the very first movies that I ever taped on a VCR when the family got a VCR. Moving Violations was on.
All right.
Come on.
Other examples. I waited 7 hours for the Beastie Boys autograph once.
Oh,
When I was
that's
in-
hip hop nerd though.
Yeah, they're a bit cool. Come on, Rich.
When
When you say Beastie Boys, do you really mean Bros?
Right, said Fred.
Here we go.
Patrick Stewart.
Fred, Johnny hates jazz. Shattered dreams. Shattered dreams. Sorry.
I've got 3. I know this is a cliche. Star Wars.
Yeah.
I've got 3 different re-releases of the Star Wars DVDs.
Ooh.
That's good.
Not only a nerd, but a pawn of the corporate powers.
Got any Star Wars Lego to go with it, Rich, so you can act it out as it goes?
I was actually in a Star Wars novel.
What do you mean?
Tripod.
Oh, hang on, that's
untoppable. Tripod got mentioned in the Star Wars novel. This guy in Adelaide writes the official, some of the official, Star Wars novels, and his little game with himself is to slide Australian references in there and try and get them, through
nice.
LucasArts and whatnot. So 3 of the characters in one of these novels went undercover into a base. Using the names Scott, Yon, and Gatesy, the guys out of my band, and calling themselves as a group Tripod. So that there's a career highlight right there.
Hey, you're
that's
winning
nerdy.
so far.
I love the idea that Australian references are being slipped into Star Wars novels. Going to that cantina bar and being headbutted by Mick Doohan. That'd be great.
Hello, Ben.
How are you going?
Very good, man. Which nerd are you dobbing in?
Just a guy who we work with. His name's Gavin.
There you good
Say
enough.
no more.
Next caller, please. So what does he do?
What's he do?
He's got the whole Smurfs collection,
Hey!
even Papa Smurf's house in his bedroom set up in the village.
In his bedroom?
Respect.
Yes,
How old is this person?
he's 19.
Brilliant.
He's one of our apprentice builders.
And how do you know this, though?
Oh, yeah.
He's showed us. He's got pictures on his phone.
He must be a devil with the ladies. Thank you, Ben. Hello.
He's going to make a fortune in a while.
Hello, Cara.
Hi.
Which nerd are you dobbing in?
I'm dubbing in myself.
Yeah, good. And what for?
I have read The Lord of the Rings over 400 times.
Hey!
You're gone. You need help.
I know.
400 times. I mean, how long would that take?
I read it like twice a week for about 2.5 years.
Twice a week?
Twice a week?
I was really obsessed. I was 15.
Yeah. And what has it given you in life, Cara?
Very little.
Oh, come on. What about a moral code? That's what it gave me.
Exactly.
All right, yeah, a moral code. Yeah, I should go and kill people I don't like.
There you go, 400 times.
Any temptation to dress up at all?
No, I've never quite gone that far.
Okay.
How's your Elvish, Cara?
Rough.
Really?
Yeah, back to the books.
Thank you, Cara. Hello, Cameron.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Which nerd are you dobbing in?
I'm dobbing in myself for a couple of reasons.
Good, man. Let's. I think there's something about Transformers, is there not?
Yes, I know the universal greeting of the Transformers.
Oh, please greet the Transformers in the room.
It is Barna Whip, Grana Whip, Ninibon.
And for extra points, can you make that noise they make when they transform?
Okay. Let's. Is that good enough?
Wow. Do
Very
either
good.
of those function as a pickup line? It's say, if you're at the Honey Pot in Darwin.
No, it hasn't worked yet, but I haven't met any built women either.
Built? Or maybe you have and they just haven't transformed.
Oh, that's hot. Thank you, Cameron. Karen, hello, sir. Who are you dobbing in?
I'm dobbing in myself.
Good for you. And what for?
Taking inspiration from yesterday's show, I was driving around town listening to the Transformers the movie soundtrack.
And where does one get such a thing at short notice?
A certain record store in the Burke Street Mall.
Wow, and they had it.
Yeah, they did.
And are you enjoying You've Got the Touch?
Oh, absolutely.
You want to just give us a couple of bars, and if you want to harmonise, Mr. Marsden,
Okay,
feel
great.
free. Take it away.
You've got the touch. You've got the power. You've got the touch, and so it goes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We are done.
I wanted to say hello to any women listening, but I just don't reckon there are any.
Mr. Howard, as I understand it, on this series of Australian Idol, there's going to be a wild card entry.
If there were one, I'll tell you what, I'd grab it.
Well, good luck with that, but I hear the front-runner is a man whose act involves manipulating his genitalia into a replica of the First Fleet.
Gee.
It's true.
I mean, nobody can do that. I can't do that now.
Well, Mr. Howard, that was what you said a week ago. And since then, it seems a lot of people are getting quite excited about the idea of you performing on Australian Idol.
Yes, of course they are. But
They're quite keen to see you bust some rhymes.
I know people are feeling it.
They say you've got the touch.
Some, too much.
That's great. Give us another.
You're not getting one, brother.
Come out to play.
No way, Jose.
Now, you and Peter Costello have a pretty good act developed, from what I hear.
We are a stellar performer around the world.
MCs Howard and Costello make Tupac and Biggie look like Milli Vanilli.
The OECD said that.
Mac Daddy J. Howard seems to have an almost psychic bond with the drum machine.
I learned from a very early age that when you actually look at that, click, 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 I remember that from very early age.
The rhymes are brilliant, but the best stuff seems to be made up as they go along.
The reality is that the great bulk is still made up and will be for the foreseeable future.
The foreseeable future or thereabouts.
There are a lot of swings and roundabouts.
Oh, very good. But isn't it true the producers of Idol have asked you to tone down some of the language?
Look, I wouldn't speculate on that. You should ask them.
Some have suggested that the constraints of network TV will force you to cut out a lot of your trademark bitches and mother...
See what happens. Once again, I'm not going to speculate about something I don't have to.
Surely you'll be severely hamstrung.
Just watch.
I mean, aren't all the swear words and references to just gratuitous?
Well, no, I don't. I don't believe that.
Really? Are those words necessary?
They are needed.
But surely the lyrics of, say, the Senate will require some fine-tuning.
I have said all along that is a little bit of fine-tuning. You ask me, is there any serious work on fine-tuning? No.
You often have the entire upper house on stage, all spouting obscenities. I mean, surely you've guaranteed the network some toning down of the act.
Look, I haven't guaranteed anything in relation to that. No, look, let's understand this. If you're saying to me, are we looking at some significant changes to the act? No, we're not, because we don't believe any are needed. But if along the way, here and there, some kind of fine-tuning with such a big act is needed, well, that will be done.
Really? Oh, okay.
And, it won't be easy, but I'm very committed, and Peter is very committed.
Yeah, how is your partnership with Peter Costello these days?
I don't think we're ever going to have lasting peace.
Isn't that a pessimistic outlook?
No, I'm trying to be realistic. I mean, I want the fighting to stop. Australia wants the fighting to stop.
Mr Costello thinks the number you've selected for Sunday's show, Straight Out of Surplus, is pretty hot stuff.
He thinks it's big time.
Yeah, but Kim Beazley thinks you should be doing a more traditional number.
I mean, everything Mr Beazley is about is the past.
Yeah, but I have it on good authority. You're going to be doing an old status quo tune.
I don't indulge in that sort of speculation.
And the view in Cabinet is that any arrangement by status quo would be a disaster.
You often have a range of views in Cabinet, and there's a strong disposition out of Cabinet not to change the present arrangement.
Right.
Let there be no doubt, the clear view of Cabinet is the status quo.
Well, good luck on Sunday, Mr Howard. I'm sure that the other acts will be...
blown out of the water.
Oh, and what's your rap name again?
1 cent.
Of course. Hey, let's go out with some more rhymes. I'll get you going. He's Johnny from the block. He's the MC with all the clout.
That is really what the economic debate is about.
He's going to kick some ass at the upcoming election.
The fundamental direction is a forward direction.
He's busting some moves. He's spewing invective.
Please let us have a sense of perspective.
He's the dopest of leaders. He's everyone's homie.
I think most of the concerns are phony.
Care to join me for a breakdance, Mr Howard?
No way, Jose.
Get this. Weekday mornings from 9 on Triple M.